Very nice to meet you, Makena Taylor. Very excited to talk about Last the Night. From what I understand, I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but this is a movie about what happens when a high school teacher who is not doing so well mentally during the pandemic overhears his students talking about him on Zoom, finds out they're going to break into the school and decides to get some pretty extreme revenge. And I saw in another interview that you did that you actually had a lot of background for this, because the teacher in question, he became an alcoholic during the pandemic, and a lot of like bad things happened to him. And your dad, growing up, he actually owned a rehab center. And you said that that actually like really helped you inform like your performance, and you had a lot of background on like what was going on kind of inside the characters' heads. Can you speak a little more to that, and like maybe what specifically might have really inspired you?
Yeah, I think just growing up with, him running all these rehabs and stuff, I got to meet a lot of different kind of people that were struggling. So my character in the movie, she's the one that kind of feels for Brian's character, and she's a student. And so it kind of inspired me just to get the role and be able to play this character who's kind of empathetic towards this character who's going through depression and anxiety, and kind of, you can tell like that he's not all there, even on Zoom, because we're doing Zoom classes in the, we're still doing Zoom now. Yeah. So yeah, I was really inspired just to be able to play this character, because I know so much about mental health since I grew up with my dad running all these different rehabs and stuff.
But like you, clearly, you're not a high schooler, and there's this whole thing about like you're playing one. Do you feel like you have to like put yourself in a different headspace to play a teenager now versus like when you were actually closer to being a teen? Like, do you have to think differently?
Kind of just think about when I was a teenager and put myself into that energy of when I was younger and more naive, and before life happens to you, basically. But I'm not that old.
No, of course not. I'm not that old either, but sometimes I look
Yeah.
at kids on Twitter now and I'm like, oh, I feel so far removed from this. I'm not even, what happened? What were you like as a teenager? Like, were you like your character Sadie, or were you completely different?
I think in some ways I was like her, and then in other ways I was completely different. The ways that were similar is that she, is kind of, I would say, more mature than the rest of the students. So I was definitely more mature. I kind of was an old soul, I would say. So that's how we're similar. And then the ways that we're different is she's kind of a teacher's pet, and I wasn't like that in high school. I was kind of all over the place. Like, I was more of a mess than her, I feel, when I was actually in high school.
Cool. But mess though you may have been, you are clearly very studied in the important literature, because I noticed on your Instagram you have a Roald Dahl quote. I love Roald Dahl. Did you like read those books growing up? Do you have a favorite?
I just always loved, different types of literature, and that's kind of how I escaped from reality, was just looking at different poems and stuff like that. And yeah.
Are you excited about the new Matilda movie?
Yeah, I'm super excited.
But your IMDb, I noticed you actually have a lot of like thriller type movies, like horror movies. Is that more your like your venue? Were you aiming to become an actress in thrillers, or is this just something that's kind of happened?
It's something that just kind of happened. I wasn't aiming for it, but I really enjoy it. I love playing those characters that are fighting for their lives, or just really afraid, and kind of have to come through this inner battle to survive.
What's your favorite part of the inner battle? Like, what do you think is the most compelling part of that?
I think finding your strength within yourself to survive, that's the best part. Is, sometimes we don't feel very strong, and then you get surprised by your own self, and yeah, you just kind of pull out this inner strength that you didn't know that you had, and that's probably the best part about it.
I also saw on your IMDb that you're filming right now for a film called Replica. I looked at smudge writing on hands. Is Replica another thriller, or are you kind of going off genre?
It's not a thriller, but it is also about addiction. I got to work with a lot of my friends on that one. So
can you say any more about it, or is it like hush hush for right now?
I don't know. I can definitely tell you like Mickey Rourke is starring in it.
That's very cool. Looking forward to hearing more about that. I do have one other question just because I saw a lot of the clips in the trailers were so high intensity that like even from the small short clips, I kind of got freaked out. And I just had flashbacks to this time I was in like this very silly zombie movie in high school with like my friends. But I remembered when I was
You were
running away. Oh yeah, one of my friends made like a, you know, run from the zombie. We're gonna put on fake blood makeup on our friends and like chase each other through the park at 7 a.m. But I legitimately got freaked out running from like my friend when we were acting. Did you ever have moments like that? Like you were so into it that you were like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, we were filming at a high school we were doing night shoots. So, and the hallways were really long and dark, and you didn't really know, like, I didn't know the area, but it didn't seem very safe. So there were moments where I would look around and kind of just make sure everything was good. And Brian's character, he got really into the character. So there was one scene where we're all standing in the hallway and we all just felt actually scared, I think, because of how great Brian is at acting. So it felt very real at
A
certain
credit to your co-star.
yeah, it was very scary in certain moments. So I kind of used that as fuel to really tap into that fear that my character had. Sadie, her name's Sadie.
Mhm. Well, that is really cool, and it has been really awesome talking to you, McKenna. Do you have anything else you'd like to like say to your fans or say to thriller fans about why they should go see Last the Night?
Yeah, I would say see it because it gets really real, and I really hope that you guys all like it because I think everyone, including the director, the writer, the cast members, we really put everything we have into it. So I really hope that everyone likes it.
Thank you, McKenna. Last the Night is available to stream now, to rent or buy, and you can also see it in select theaters if you look around and you're lucky enough to have it playing in your city. Thank you, McKenna.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.